Most cars don't fail when you expect them to. They fail right after 60,000 miles. That's when some of the most popular vehicles start hitting owners with $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 plus repair bills with almost no warning. One day it feels fine. The next day, it's a financial hit. In this video, we're counting down 12 cars that turn into money pits after 60,000 miles, based on real repair trends and failure data. And don't skip this, because the number 2 and number 1 cars on this list can cost you thousands more than they're worth once things go wrong. Let's start. Number 12, Nissan Altima 2013 to 2018. The Nissan Altima looks like the perfect safe choice. Affordable, comfortable, great on gas, and for the first 50,000 to 60,000 miles, it usually is. But here's where things start to go wrong fast. Because under the hood, this generation of Altima relies on something called a CVT transmission, and on paper it sounds like a smart idea, with smoother acceleration, better fuel economy, fewer moving parts. But in the real world, it's one of the biggest financial risks in this entire segment. See, most traditional transmissions wear down gradually. You feel slipping, rough shifts, warning signs. But the Altima's CVT often doesn't give you that luxury. Instead, many owners report a very different pattern. The car drives fine until somewhere around 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Suddenly, it starts slipping, overheating, or worse, completely fails. And when that happens, you're not looking at a small repair. You're looking at a full transmission replacement, which can easily cost $3,500 to $5,000 or more. Now here's where it gets even worse. These failures often happen just outside the warranty window, meaning the entire cost falls on you. No coverage, no help, just a massive bill that catches most owners off guard. And the root cause? It comes down to how CVTs handle stress. Unlike traditional gear-based systems, they rely on belts and pulleys under constant pressure. Over time, heat builds up. Components wear unevenly, and once that internal damage starts, there's no simple fix, because here's the truth, the Altima doesn't become expensive because of constant small repairs. It becomes expensive because of one big failure that hits at the worst possible time. And for many owners, that's the moment they realize the cheap car was never cheap at all. Number 11, Mini Cooper S. The Mini Cooper S is one of those cars people fall in love with instantly. It's quick, it's fun, it feels different from everything else on the road. And for the first 50,000 miles, it delivers exactly what you expect. But here's the problem most buyers don't see coming. This car isn't just built for performance. It's built with complex components that don't age well. And right around the 60,000 mile mark, that's when things start to get expensive. Because hidden inside that small, sporty engine is one of the most notorious issues Mini has ever been known for, the timing chain failure, often called the death rattle. At first, it sounds minor, a slight rattling noise during cold starts, maybe something easy to ignore. But that sound, it's your only warning, because what's actually happening underneath is the timing chain stretching or the tensioner failing. And if that system slips even slightly, it can throw the engine timing completely off. And when that happens, you're not looking at a simple fix. You're looking at bent valves, internal engine damage, or even full engine replacement. Repair costs? Easily $2,500 to $5,000 plus, depending on how far the damage goes. And here's what makes it worse. This isn't always a gradual failure. Many owners report that the car runs fine until one day the noise gets louder, and then suddenly the engine loses power or shuts down completely. Now add another layer to this. The Mini Cooper S uses a turbocharged engine, which adds more heat, more pressure, and more stress on internal components. Over time, that accelerates wear, especially if maintenance isn't absolutely perfect. And labor costs, they're not cheap. Because of the tight engine bay and complex design, even simple repairs take more time, which means higher bills every time something goes wrong. Here's the reality. The Mini Cooper S doesn't fail because it's badly engineered. It becomes expensive because it's over-engineered for its size. Too much performance packed into too small a space. And once it crosses that 60,000 mile mark, that fun, sporty car can quickly turn into a repair bill you didn't see coming. Number 10, Volkswagen Jetta / Passat. At first glance, the Volkswagen Jetta and Passat feel like smart, practical choices. Comfortable ride, solid build quality, a European feel at an affordable price, and for the first few years, they usually live up to that reputation. But here's where things take a turn, because one of the most critical components inside these engines is also one of the most dangerous once it starts to fail: the timing chain tensioner. Now, most drivers never think about this part because when it's working, you never notice it, but when it fails, it doesn't just cause a small issue, it can destroy the engine completely. Here's how it happens. As these cars approach that 60,000 to 90,000 mile range, the timing chain tensioner can begin to weaken or lose pressure. At first, there might be subtle signs: a slight rattling noise on startup, maybe a rough idle, easy to ignore, but underneath, the timing chain is starting to loosen, and if that tensioner fails completely, the chain can slip. Now the engine's timing is thrown off. Valves and pistons, moving at high speed, can collide instantly, and in that moment, you're no longer dealing with maintenance. You're dealing with catastrophic engine failure. Repair cost? Not $500, not $1,000. We're talking $4,000 to $7,000 plus for engine rebuilds or full replacements. And here's the worst part. This failure often comes with very little warning. Many owners report the car running perfectly fine, until one day, it suddenly won't start or makes a loud metallic noise. And that's it. Game over. Now let's talk about the root cause. Volkswagen designed these engines for efficiency and performance, but early versions of these tensioners weren't built to last long-term under constant stress. Over time, wear builds up internally, and once that hydraulic pressure drops, failure becomes inevitable. Because here's the truth: the Jetta and Passat don't become expensive because of constant small issues. They become expensive because of one silent failure that hits without warning and leaves you with a repair bill that can exceed the value of the car itself, and that's exactly why they land on this list. Number 9. Subaru WRX. The Subaru WRX is built for one thing: performance. Quick acceleration, sharp handling, a turbocharged engine that makes every drive feel exciting, and for a while, it delivers exactly that. But here's what most owners don't expect, and that same performance is exactly what starts to break things down after 60,000 miles. Because under the hood, the WRX uses a high-stress turbocharged boxer engine, and while it's fun when everything works, it also runs hotter, harder, and under more pressure than a typical daily driver. Now here's where things start to shift. As the miles climb past that 60,000 mark, many owners begin to notice subtle changes. Oil consumption creeping up, slight loss of power, or rougher engine behavior. Easy to ignore, but those are early signs of something bigger, because one of the most common failure points in the WRX is the head gasket or turbo system, and when either of those goes, you're not dealing with a quick fix. A failing head gasket can lead to coolant leaks, overheating internal engine damage, and repair costs easily $2,000 to $4,000 plus depending on severity. Now add the turbocharger into the equation. Over time, heat and pressure wear down internal seals and bearings. Once that turbo starts to fail, you'll notice smoke, power loss, or whining noises, and replacing it, that's another $1,500 to $3,000 plus. But here's what really makes this car risky. The WRX doesn't fail because it's unreliable in the traditional sense. It fails because it's demanding. Miss an oil change, push it too hard, or don't maintain it perfectly, and wear accelerates fast. Because this engine isn't forgiving. It's built for performance, not neglect. And once it crosses that 60,000 mile line, that fun, sporty driving experience can quickly turn into a series of expensive repairs that keep stacking up. Because the same thing that makes the WRX exciting is exactly what makes it expensive to own. Number 8. Audi Q7. The Audi Q7 feels like a premium SUV in every sense. Quiet cabin, smooth ride, advanced technology everywhere you look, and when it's new, it's one of the most refined SUVs you can buy. But here's the reality most owners don't realize. That same advanced engineering is exactly what makes it a nightmare after 60,000 miles. Because the Q7 isn't just a simple SUV, it's packed with complex electronics, sensors, and all-wheel drive systems that all have to work perfectly together, and over time, they don't. Now here's where the problems begin. As these vehicles age, owners start reporting issues like electrical glitches, infotainment failures, sensor malfunctions, all-wheel drive system faults. At first they seem small, a warning light here, a system reset there. But these problems rarely stay small, because diagnosing electronic issues in a vehicle like the Q7 is not simple. It requires specialized tools, software, and labor, which means higher costs before you even fix anything. And once parts start failing, that's when things get expensive. We're talking control modules, sensors, AWD components. Each repair can easily run $1,000 to $3,000 plus. Now add another layer, the air suspension system on higher trims. It delivers an incredibly smooth ride when it works, but as it ages, components wear out. Air struts, compressors, and lines can fail right around that mid-mileage range, and replacing them? That's another $2,000 to $5,000 plus depending on the setup. Here's the root cause. Audi designed the Q7 to deliver a luxury experience through technology, but more technology means more failure points. And once those systems start aging, they don't fail all at once. They fail one by one, because here's the truth. The Audi Q7 doesn't hit you with one massive failure. It slowly drains your wallet through a series of expensive, unpredictable repairs. And after 60,000 miles, that luxury experience can quickly turn into a long-term financial burden. Number 7, BMW X5. The BMW X5 feels like the perfect balance. Luxury, performance, daily usability, and for the first 50,000 miles, it delivers exactly what you expect from a premium SUV. Smooth power, sharp handling, a driving experience that feels a step above everything else. But here's where things start to change, because once the X5 crosses that 60,000 mile mark, it begins to reveal a problem that many owners underestimate: aging components in a high heat environment. Now here's the part most people don't think about. Modern BMW engines rely heavily on plastic components, especially in the cooling system. Water pumps, thermostat housings, coolant pipes, all working under constant heat and pressure. And over time, plastic doesn't just wear out, it becomes brittle. So instead of gradual wear, you get sudden failures. One day, everything feels fine. The next day, you're dealing with coolant leaks, overheating warning lights. And if that overheating isn't caught immediately, it can lead to serious engine damage. Now let's talk cost. A water pump or cooling system repair alone can run anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 plus. But if overheating causes deeper damage, that's when repairs can climb even higher. And it doesn't stop there. As the X5 ages, owners also report oil leaks from valve cover gaskets, turbo-related issues, suspension wear, each one adding another layer of cost. And because this is a luxury vehicle, labor isn't cheap. Everything takes longer to access, diagnose, and repair, which means every visit to the shop hits harder than expected. Here's the root cause. BMW engineered the X5 for performance and efficiency, but many of those components aren't built for long-term durability under heat. So once the miles climb past 60,000, failures don't just happen, they start stacking. Because the X5 doesn't become expensive from one major breakdown, it becomes expensive from a series of mid-sized repairs that keep coming back. And over time, that ultimate driving machine turns into a maintenance cycle that's hard to escape. Number 6, Porsche Cayenne. Owning a Porsche Cayenne feels like stepping into a different league. Powerful engine, luxury interior, a badge that carries serious prestige. And for a while, it feels worth every dollar. But here's the reality most owners don't see coming. This SUV isn't expensive just to buy. It's expensive to keep alive after 60,000 miles. Because the Cayenne isn't built like a typical SUV. It's engineered like a high-performance machine, with tight tolerances, specialized parts, and complex systems. And that's exactly where things get risky. As mileage builds, components don't just wear out, they become expensive to replace. Now here's how it plays out in real life. At around 60,000 miles, owners start encountering issues like cooling system failures, drivetrain wear, suspension component aging. None of these sound catastrophic at first, but the problem isn't just the failure, it's the cost of fixing it. Because Porsche parts aren't standard, they're premium priced and highly specialized. Even basic repairs can quickly turn into $1,500, $3,000, sometimes even more. And then comes the biggest factor, labor. Working on a Cayenne isn't simple. Tight engine bays, complex layouts, and performance tuning mean more time in the shop and higher labor rates. Now combine those two things: expensive parts, expensive labor. And suddenly, even a minor repair turns into a serious financial hit. But here's the deeper issue. The Cayenne is designed to perform at a high level, which means more stress on engine components, suspension systems, drivetrain parts. And over time, that stress adds up, because performance always comes at a cost. And once you cross that 60,000 mile mark, that cost becomes very real. Here's the truth. The Porsche Cayenne doesn't break down constantly, but when it does, it hits harder than almost anything else in its class. And for many owners, that's when the dream of owning a Porsche turns into a reality of expensive maintenance bills that never feel small. Number 5. Infiniti Q50. The Infiniti Q50 feels like a smart upgrade. Sleek design, strong performance, luxury features, without the German price tag, and for the first 50,000 to 60,000 miles, it delivers exactly that experience. But here's what most owners don't expect. This car doesn't get expensive slowly, it gets expensive all at once. Because under the hood, especially in the newer models, the Q50 relies on a twin turbocharged engine, and while that setup gives you strong performance early on, it also introduces one of the biggest risks right around that 60,000 mile mark. Turbocharger wear. Now here's how it starts. At first everything feels normal, then small signs begin to show up. Slight loss of power, unusual whining noises, maybe a bit of smoke under acceleration. Easy to ignore, but those are early warnings, because once those turbochargers begin to fail, you're not dealing with a quick fix, you're dealing with a major replacement job. And since this engine uses 2 turbos, not one, costs can escalate fast. We're talking $2,500 to $5,000 plus depending on parts and labor. Now add another layer to the problem. These turbo systems generate significant heat. Over time, that heat also affects surrounding components, fuel system parts, hoses, seals, which means failures don't always happen alone. They start stacking, and that's where things get dangerous financially, because instead of one repair, you're suddenly dealing with multiple systems aging at the same time. Now factor in labor costs. This isn't a simple engine layout. Accessing and replacing turbo components takes time, which drives up the bill even further. Here's the root cause. Infiniti designed the Q50 to deliver strong performance while staying competitive in price. But that balance comes with trade-offs. High performance parts under constant stress with long-term durability that doesn't always match. Because here's the truth. The Q50 doesn't slowly drain your wallet. It hits you with a few big repairs right after 60,000 miles. And that's when many owners realize the affordable luxury was only affordable at the beginning. Number 4. Mercedes-Benz G-Class. The Mercedes-Benz G-Class is more than just an SUV. It's a status symbol, iconic design, hand-built engineering, a vehicle that feels almost indestructible. And when it's new, it gives you that exact impression. Solid, powerful, built to last forever. But here's the reality most owners don't talk about. This is one of the most expensive vehicles to maintain once it crosses that 60,000 mile mark. And not because it breaks down constantly, but because everything about it costs more. But modern G-Class models are also packed with advanced electronics, luxury systems, complex drivetrain components, and that's where things start to get expensive, because when something wears out or fails, you're not paying standard repair prices, you're paying premium luxury pricing. Now here's what that looks like over time. Routine maintenance alone on a G-Class is significantly higher than average, and according to long-term ownership data, 10-year maintenance costs can exceed $16,000 plus. But the real issue begins after 60,000 miles. That's when components like suspension parts, electronic modules, drivetrain components start needing attention, and none of them are cheap. Even basic repairs can easily run into $1,500. And suddenly, ownership becomes a pattern of high-cost service visits, expensive parts replacements, and ongoing financial commitment. Here's the root cause. The G-Class isn't just engineered for durability, it's engineered for luxury and performance at the same time. Because here's the truth, the G-Class doesn't become a money pit because it fails dramatically. It becomes one because everything it needs costs more. And after 60,000 miles, that indestructible SUV can quietly turn into one of the most expensive vehicles to keep on the road. Number 3. Tesla Model S. The Tesla Model S feels like the future. Instant acceleration, silent driving, cutting-edge technology that makes everything feel effortless. And for the first few years, it can be one of the most satisfying cars to own. But here's the part most buyers don't fully think through. This isn't just a car. It's a highly complex piece of technology. And once it crosses that 60,000 mile mark, battery degradation is normal. But in some cases, especially out of warranty, battery-related issues can go beyond simple range loss. We're talking about battery module failures, charging system faults, full battery replacement in worst-case scenarios. Plus, now add another layer, air suspension. The Model S uses an advanced air suspension system for that smooth, adaptive ride. But as it ages, components like air struts and compressors can start to fail around mid-mileage. And replacing those? That's another $2,000 to $4,000 plus. But here's what makes this car different from everything else on this list. Failures don't always happen gradually, because so much of the car depends on software and integrated systems. When something goes wrong, it can feel sudden and expensive. Now, to be fair, not every Model S will face these extreme costs, but the risk is there, and once you're out of warranty, you're fully exposed. Because here's the truth, the Model S doesn't become a money pit through constant small repairs. It becomes one because of high-stakes components that cost a fortune when they fail. And after 60,000 miles, that futuristic driving experience can come with a very real financial reality. Number 2, Land Rover Range Rover. The Land Rover Range Rover is the definition of luxury and capability combined. Elegant design, off-road dominance, a driving experience that feels premium in every way, and when it's new, it's hard to beat. But here's the reality that long-term owners know all too well. This is one of the most expensive vehicles to own after 60,000 miles, and not because of one single flaw, but because of repeated high-cost failures that keep coming back. Let's start with expectations. You buy a Range Rover thinking, I'm getting one of the most advanced SUVs on the road. And that's true, but that advanced engineering comes with a cost, complexity. Now here's how that plays out. As these vehicles age, especially past 60,000 miles, owners commonly report issues with air suspension systems, timing chain components, electrical systems. Let's break that down. The air suspension delivers that signature smooth ride, but over time, air struts, compressors, and lines wear out. And when they fail, you're looking at $2,000 to $5,000 plus per repair. Then comes the timing chain issue. If it stretches or fails, you're dealing with a major engine repair that can easily exceed $4,000 to $7,000 plus. Now add electrical complexity. Modern Range Rovers are packed with sensors, control modules, advanced driver systems. And as they age, glitches and failures become more common, each one requiring diagnostics, parts, and labor, which means more cost. But here's what really makes this SUV risky. These issues don't happen once. They happen repeatedly. One repair turns into another, then another. And over time, ownership becomes a cycle of breakdown to repair to repeat. Now, let's talk about the root cause. Land Rover engineered the Range Rover to deliver unmatched luxury and capability, but that also means more systems, more stress points, and more things that can fail over time. Because here's the truth, the Range Rover doesn't just hit you with one big bill, it slowly drains your wallet through continuous expensive repairs. And after 60,000 miles, that luxury experience can turn into one of the most financially demanding ownership experiences on the road. Now for the number 1 spot, and this one might be the most expensive surprise of them all. Number 1, Ram 2500/3500. The Ram 2500/3500 looks like the kind of truck that should last forever. Massive diesel engine, heavy-duty capability, built to tow, haul, and handle anything you throw at it, and for a while, it absolutely does. But here's the reality most owners don't expect. This truck doesn't become expensive because it's weak. It becomes expensive because it's too complex and too costly to fix once things start wearing out. Let's start with the expectation. You buy a heavy-duty truck thinking, this thing is built for the long haul. And mechanically, that's true. But what most people overlook is what happens after 60,000 miles of real-world use, especially if the truck has been used for towing or heavy loads. Because that's when the most expensive systems start to show signs of wear. Now here's where things get serious. Modern Ram heavy-duty trucks, especially diesel models, rely on extremely complex fuel and emission systems. We're talking about? High pressure fuel pumps, injectors, diesel particulate filters, DPF, EGR systems. And when these components begin to fail, they don't fail cheaply. A single fuel system repair, like injectors or a pump, can easily cost $4,000 to $8,000 plus. DPF or emissions related repairs, another $2,000 to $5,000 plus depending on the issue. And here's the worst part, these aren't rare failures. They often start appearing right after heavy use pushes the truck past that mid-mileage range. Now add another layer, labor. Working on a heavy-duty diesel engine is time-consuming and specialized, which means even diagnosing the issue can cost more than expected. And once you're in the shop, the bill escalates fast. But here's the root cause. These trucks are engineered to meet strict emission standards while still delivering massive power. That balance creates extremely complex systems under constant stress. Over time, heat, pressure, and carbon buildup take a toll on critical components. And once those systems start failing, it's not one small fix, it's a chain reaction of expensive repairs. Because here's the truth, the Ram 2500/3500 doesn't become a money pit because it can't handle the work. It becomes one because the cost of maintaining that capability is incredibly high after 60,000 miles. And for many owners, that's the moment they realize the most powerful truck on the road can also be the most expensive to keep running. Here's the reality most car buyers never think about. It's not the purchase price that hurts the most. It's what happens after the warranty ends. Because the wrong car doesn't just cost you a little more over time. It hits you with massive unexpected repair bills right when you're least prepared for them. And by the time those problems show up, it's already too late to avoid them. That's why knowing which cars turn into money pits after 60,000 miles can save you thousands before you ever make the mistake. If this video helped you, hit like and subscribe. Because the next video breaks down cars that actually stay reliable past 100,000 miles, and a few of them might completely surprise you.